Bienvenidos to Season 3 of Humans in Accounting podcast. In a world full of AI, automation, and endless workflows, we pause for a moment to focus on the real humans behind the numbers. Founders, leaders, humans share their journey, what drives them, and the moments that shape their path. Because behind every balance sheet, there's always a story worth telling. Humans in Accounting is brought to you by South Offices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Humans in Accounting, where leaders, humans, people, they share their story behind their spreadsheets. I am Alex Roman, and this podcast is brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today, I have Nancy Benet. She's a licensed CPA, entrepreneur, and CEO of Fixed Accounting. Nancy, I'm super happy just to have you here at Humans in Accounting. How are you?
Very well, thanks. I'm so glad to be here, Alex.
And I'm happy that you are here. Let's make this episode. I wanted to ask you. Let's start with the beginning. I want to know. I know that you've been running your firm for a few years now. I'm just curious. I want to know how you got started and how's the story? Tell me everything.
Yeah, it goes way back. I wanted to be a CPA from the time I was a small child, and I didn't know what that was, but I knew that my parents were poor and they had a friend. My parents had this friend that was a CPA, and he and his family had this really nice life. And that's what I wanted. So I did all the things that you do. I go to school, get a good education so I can go to college, get a good job, and eventually have my own practice.
But hold
But it
on,
didn't.
I need to interrupt you there, and I'm so sorry. When you say, I mean, when was it? How old were you? Like, you were 4, you were 5, you were 10?
I'm going to go with 10. I don't remember
Okay,
exactly my age, but 10, not old enough to know what a CPA was. I didn't
right.
understand that. And I guess maybe people that are much older don't either, but I found out that I have great aptitude for that. So it was a good choice, even though I didn't know what it was. I breezed through college. It was great. It was really easy for me, straight A's, all that. But then I got the good job part and I hated it. It was not what I had expected. I was sitting alone in a little cubicle all day long by myself with somebody feeding me this work that was, had high technical proficiency level requirements that they thought was important. It wasn't what I thought was important. And I'm very entrepreneurial minded. And so I just thought, this is horrible. It's not for me. And so I
Right.
said, well, I'll stay in accounting, and I got an offer for a job as the corporate controller with a client. So I jumped ship and went to work for the client out of the CPA firm. And I thought, this is going to be way better, but it wasn't. If anything, it was worse. So I just, without even thinking about it, decided accounting was not for me. And I ditched all of my pre-planned career goals in favor of being a stay-at-home mom and starting a business with my husband. So fast forward, I was a stay-at-home mom, and we had business after business after business, 5 businesses outside of the accounting industry that failed completely. I woke up one
I
day,
need to ask you. I am sorry. I keep on interrupting you, but I really want to know the story. What were those 5 businesses? What have you tried outside accounting?
yeah. So the first one was a pet sitting business when I was in college. The second one was a complete flop. There was not a sale at all. Second one was a screen printing business. The third one was a car lot, like selling used cars. The fourth one was a multi-level marketing business. And the fifth one was a real estate investing company.
I love it.
And all
Perfect.
were miserable failures. So I was like, I am really bad at business. I'm not going to do that anymore. So I went and got a job and got a divorce. I just said, I just can't do this anymore. I kind of had this midlife awakening and was like, this is not for me. I thought I've made these bad choices. I need to do something else. So I got a job and I got a divorce, and the job got sent to Colorado. I live in Florida. So they moved all of their accounting functions to Colorado. And I was like, well, I can't go there. So I lost my job, and it was the middle of the recession and there were no other jobs. it was just a bleak, dark place. On top of that, I had 4 children by myself and $650,000 in debt from the previous business failures. My husband kinda just walked away and said, "You want a divorce? Too bad. It's all yours." So I didn't really have a lot of options, and there was this guy that wanted to sell his very small tax practice, and I didn't think I was good at business, but I didn't have any other options. So I went under contract with him, and the day after I signed a 3-year lease, he backed out of the agreement and gave it to his daughter, gave the business to his daughter. So there I was again with no clients and a 3-year lease and the 4 kids and the $650,000 in debt. So I was like, "Well, what am I gonna do? I really have no choice but to make this work." And so that was a pivotal moment in my life. When you make a decision to do something and you are very intent on that decision, somehow resources come and help you. And that's exactly what happened. We started with sending lien letters, we call them. They are these beautiful little wedding invitation looking letters to people who had federal tax liens filed in Florida. And it worked. We started solving problems, which is why we have the name Fix It Accounting. We started solving tax problems. And that was super rewarding. And we learned just so much from that, but it was very up and down, the income from that, because any little thing would happen. Hurricanes would come, lanes would dry up. The budget, the Congress couldn't pass the budget. Everything got shut down, lanes would dry up. So our income would dry up too. And I decided that's not going to work long term. So we moved to more of a recurring revenue model. And now we've even moved into more advisory services because that, the recurring revenue is great, but AI is coming along and who knows what's going to happen in our industry. So we're really looking toward the future and where we're going at this point.
Nancy, I was going to ask you specifically that when you started the accounting firm, you already had the name, or this was something that you thought afterwards you already had a few clients.
Well, it had started with a different name when
Okay.
I was with the guy that was selling me his firm. There was a different name, and we had started this new entity, and that was in 2010. And as soon as he got out, I was like, "Oh, I've got to rename this." And this is what we came up with. And it's actually been really great. I didn't like doing networking, which is the way that CPAs have traditionally gotten their clients. I didn't like that. So I started building an online marketing platform, and it's been super successful. Our phone rings off the hook. I can't necessarily manage all of the work that's coming in at this point. And even when I turn off ads, the phone keeps ringing because our search engine optimization is so strong. And a lot of that has to do with the branding and the name.
That's great. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool name. That's why I asked you, and I was going to ask you, well, what was broken from your clients that you were fixing it, but well, you explained that already. Let me ask you, Nancy. I know you mentoring you mentor accountants, right? One on one. Tell me a
I
little bit about that experience.
I do. I was the member of a CEO group in Daytona Beach. And I guess our group was offering mentoring to other business owners in the area. And one CPA came to the group and said, "Hey, I would like some mentorship." And the leader of the group just kind of stuck him with me. And we've been doing this for 5 years now. And he is so super successful. He went from like a struggling newer firm owner, and wow, just working with him has been super fun for both of us. We've become great friends, and he has been extremely successful since we started working together. His income probably has, I don't know, 10 times over increased. And he has gotten married and he's on his second baby right this minute. And so he's doing really, really great. And I loved that so much. And I had mentored some other people before. So this is one of my goals for the future as an older CPA. I know lots of CPAs are retiring and newer people are coming in. And so that's one of my goals because it was so hard for me getting started to help others get started. It is difficult if you don't have a mentor.
I wanted just to ask you two follow-up questions on that. First, did you have a mentor? Did you have someone who helped you out there? And now, when you're mentoring someone, What's the part that you enjoy the most about doing that?
I did not have a mentor, and that is something that would have helped me so, so much. Over the years, I tried hiring certain coaches and stuff that weren't necessarily from the CPA firm background, and that did not go so well. So, yeah, my favorite thing about the mentoring is the relationship and watching someone else thrive. I was talking to my mentee the other day, and he was telling me he had joined this online mastermind group of other CPA firm owners, and he said, "Nancy, I've been in business the least amount of time as all of these people, and I have better systems and better quality of life than any of them. They're all in putting out fires mode. They don't know how to price things. They don't have any structure to their firms. They're just like accepting whatever work comes along, and they don't have a plan. And so they're really all suffering." And it made me feel, I mean, I feel bad for them, obviously, but it made me feel happy that I could so improve his quality of life.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that's the point when you I don't know how to say it. I think it's like kind of like a selfish thing that when you see someone, when you help someone and they do good, it's like it's comfortable. It's like, oh, okay, I was able just to help, and that's something that I don't know. Me, I like helping. I like helping, but I am also super open when someone tells me, "Hey, you need help with this or that." I'm someone who is not going to be. It's open just to receive advice, and I think it's super important just to have mentors. Sometimes I don't know what's the best way. I have a mentor myself, but I don't know if you just go there's a website where you say, hey, I need a mentor. Usually it's a friend, someone who you have worked with, someone you had a relationship, someone who cares about you and wants you to succeed. And yeah, I think it's something super super important just to have.
I agree with that, and, it does make you feel good as a human to offer something, but being open to receive as well, that's part of our makeup. We're very social creatures, we're supposed to be doing that, but what I find in the accounting industry, it seems like everybody's, like, looking at this as competition, and to me, there's, like, more clients than we can handle, so there's no competitive aspect of it. We all need to work together. And so I think the mentorship is kind of missing in the accounting industry. Even if you're working at a firm, like they're not going to let you see the back end. So you can't go out and start your own firm. They don't want you doing that. Me, I'm transparent. I'm like wanting to even the people that work for me. If you want to start a firm, great, I will help you. And so I think that's something missing in our industry.
An interesting point. And actually, now I was looking at your website, and you mentioned me something that I've been. I told you my story. I don't know if I told you my story, but I came from technical background or from sales, but in tech companies, in software development companies. I'm kind of new to the accounting industry. Well, I don't know if that new, but I've been around for 2 or 3 years now. You mentioned something that it's the first time that I heard about. Like, you have this franchise model, correct?
Yes, we do. We have a franchise model and a licensing model for not the franchise is for CPAs and the licensing model is for enrolled agents that would like to operate as a CPA firm because the fees are much higher. There's so much
Okay.
more that you can do with that. And so
I
yes, we do have that. It's all the legal work's complete, everything's there.
I wanted just to ask you from that perspective, like what's the ideal person, or someone watching this in the future? What's the ideal person that will benefit of opening a franchise directly with you
Yeah,
from?
this would be a CPA that's working in a small CPA firm that's smaller that deals with small business owner clients, right? And they
Right.
have probably 5+ years of experience because it does take a long time to really get technically proficient enough to run your own firm because you're going to run into client questions and all these things that you need to know. And so it takes a while out of school to be able to get that knowledge, and you have to be working with the right kinds of clients, the small business clients, not the giant public companies, right? So that's
Right.
who would look to mentor and work with in our franchising model.
Okay, perfect. And then let me just do a double click on that and ask you like specifically, like what do you do from day one? Like what do they get? Like branding, the systems, training. Walk me through like exactly what they would be getting.
Well, first of all, they get the brand, which again,
Right,
we built such a huge online presence that is so well received, and we really do get a lot of business from that. So the brand, but then on top of that, all of the training, all of the systems, all of the pricing, all of the help you could ever need, because me and my team are used to training and talking to people and dealing with helping you get ramped up in business because that's something we do with our clients too.
right.
So, this is kind of a business in a box, that is you can plug and play, and we'll get you clients from the beginning. Not just clients, "Oh, I need an individual tax return for 300 bucks." These are clients, some of our clients, we got one that pays $21,000 a month, and that's just one of, a lot. So, there's really bigger clients that you can get out there that aren't necessarily more complicated, it's just they have more volume of transactions and things like that, and then they need CFO type services. So, there's so much that comes with that because if you start a firm, you're not gonna know how to price, you're not gonna know about what systems you need, you're not gonna understand about all the software tech requirements, you're not gonna know how to get the sales end of things going, and if a client does come, what do you say to them? Do you have an engagement letter ready? Do you have There's so much that goes into that, and they're not gonna trust you immediately because you're so brand new. Even if you've got 5 years or 10 years in an accounting firm, you're brand new in that business, and they don't trust is a huge factor. There's such an intimate relationship between the CPA and the client.
Yeah, I think that's a huge advantage that they could get from this model, which again, it's super interesting. Okay, I'll make sure when we publish this, when we upload this episode, just to make sure, just to leave your details so that maybe people in the future are watching this and say, hey, maybe Nancy, I can have the benefit of reaching out to Nancy. Nancy, let me ask you, I don't know how familiar you are with humans in accounting. I am a foodie guy. I enjoy, between other stuff, eating good food. And I always ask each guest here from Humans in Accounting what's their favorite food. And this is me asking you this directly. Nancy, what's your favorite food?
Well, my answer is gonna be pizza, but it's very specific pizza. My husband is a foodie too, and he cooks all of my meals. We do not go out to eat, and over the past, I don't know, 8 months, he has been perfecting his pizza recipe, and it's to die for.
Oh, no, no, hold on. Now tell me, what does that pizza specifically has? I want to know yeah, the top. Tell me what's the flavor? What kind of pizza?
I guess I would call it Italian sausage pizza, but it does
Okay,
have all my favorite things: mushrooms, black olives, a spicy red sauce on it. I love the spice with a lot of crushed red pepper. So, yeah, and
okay,
lots of great high quality cheese. And the
okay.
the crunchy crust is my favorite, the crunchy crust. It has to be crunchy.
Okay, okay, perfect. And where were you? Physically, you're in Florida. We're in Florida.
Central Florida, we're halfway in between Daytona Beach and Orlando.
All right. I don't usually invite myself, but if sometimes I go to events in Orlando. If I am near, and if your husband is there, and it's actually doing one of those pizzas, maybe I'll send you a message. I'll be more than happy just to try one or two slices
Come
of that
on, you'll
pizza.
love it.
All right. That's great. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to your accounting firm. I want to ask you, then all this years running this your accounting firm, what's an achievement or a milestone that what's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you for a milestone or an achievement that you got through this years?
The biggest one was pulling myself out of the day-to-day operations. That to me was the biggest feat that I've accomplished because, we get as accountants, we get wound up with all the technical things, doing the tax returns and being, and we tend to like go all in, and it's hard to pull yourself out because everybody around you wants you, the clients, your team members, everybody wants you in there. But I feel like I've successfully extracted myself. I'm here for questions if it's needed, but my staff is empowered to make decisions for themselves. They are all that most of them are have been here a long time. And I think that's really important that we get great people and we keep great people because it's a great place to work. I mean, we have 4 dogs in the office. It can't get much better than that. So, uh, yeah, I pulled myself out, but I still get to come here every day and enjoy the family atmosphere that we have. And yeah, so that's been my greatest feat, I think.
That's great. I want to ask you when were you able just to achieve this? Was it like last week or
No, that was probably about 4 years ago, maybe 5. And it was when I joined a group and got some mentoring. That's when I joined this group of CEOs, and none of the other ones worked in their businesses, and it gave me a new perspective. I was able to watch them and learn from them and able to conceive because you have to think a thought first before you can make that thought a reality. And so I had to really like watch them and go, "Hey, they don't have to be in the middle of it, in the trenches doing the work all the time and working 80 hours a week. Why would I, not that I work 80 hours a week. I never have done that. Nobody here is required to do that either. So I think quality of life is a really big issue. But just being able to watch them and being able to understand that that is possible was what enabled me to actually finally do it.
right, right. But still, I imagine that maybe you realize, all right, I got to go in this direction, and this is not something that you do like one random Tuesday of July where you say, all right, I'm gonna be out. It's a process. It's first having the decision in your mind. All right, I need just to pull myself out, and then do little things day after day just to be there. I think it's hard for everyone who the business just to do that, but it's at the same time super important. So I'm glad that you mentioned that as the biggest milestone you achieved. And what about the challenge that yeah the biggest challenge that you faced? Well,
Okay, can I go back to the first question real quick? Because I do want
you
to
can
say that pulling yourself out of the business is one of the greatest things you can do for the value of that business. Because it's
absolutely.
much more valuable if you don't have to be there and somebody new can come in and take over and it still runs smoothly. Just saying about that. My biggest challenge is managing people. I tend to believe that we're all adults and we would all do what we say we're going to do and what we need to do and just have emotional intelligence and move forward. Operate like this is your business, like do what you're supposed to do. But not everybody subscribes to that. And so that's been eye opening and enlightening for me, and certainly a challenge. I have had to fire people. Also, I'm a very big people pleaser. I've had to fire people, and that was very, very difficult for me. But it was to the best thing that I did because when you're newer in business, you'll hire people that aren't necessarily a good fit later, and you're kinda desperate, you don't know what to look for when you're newer, and then later, it's just not working out, even though you feel loyal to those people and you want it to work and you want them to behave and you want the best for them, they still just it's not working anymore, and for the good of your business, for the team, for your income, for all of these reasons, you have to fire them, and that to me was very, very difficult.
Yeah. But it's important just to, yeah. I felt so identified with what you said. And again, you know what we do here at South Office is we're a company where we basically are interviewing 24/7. That's an exaggeration, but we are interviewing many interviews every single day, and we've seen it all. And something that maybe we all think it's part of how we all are. No, the truth is that we are all different human beings, and some we're all different, but that's why it helps a lot having a good culture and a firm and a company, just giving everyone that responsibility that you're giving them and making we're telling them that they can basically take their own decisions and being in a cool environment with 4 dogs. Well, what are the names of those 4 dogs?
So we have Milo, is my dog. He is a Labradoodle. And then we've got Nova and Cammy. They are golden retrievers and belong to one of the managers here. And she had the one, but then the other one was a rescue. So, of course, we're not going to go, no, sorry, no more dogs. And then just
Right.
last week, my husband and I rescued another Labradoodle. And so it's four now, and sometimes five because my son leases space from us and he's here sometimes with his dog. So, yeah, the new dog's name is Buster and he's adorable.
That's great. I love dogs, and Milo is the name of how I call my Chat GPT agent. It's Milo. I always when I talk, hey Milo, how are you? Anyways, that's super interesting. Nancy, plans plans for the future. Well, you mentioned these franchise model that you have. What's Let me ask you this question just to wrap up. What's a good maybe a good advice that you can give someone? You already mentioned some solid advice during this interview, but what if you can just pick one? What's a good advice that you can give either someone starting their own firm who does not know how to start? Well, maybe they can call you directly and start a firm with your name. What's a good advice you can give them, or and also what's a good advice that you can someone could have given you back then when you started all this? Yeah, those two questions. What's a good advice for someone starting now in July 2026, and what's a good advice that someone could have given you back then?
The best advice is have a mentor. It doesn't have to be us, but find somebody that can help you because there's so many things you don't know starting your own firm. This is like so much. It's drinking from a fire hose, even if you get to learn those things all at once. But it doesn't end. It's like it keeps going. You have to learn something new all the time. And it's really overwhelming in so many ways, and if you have somebody guiding you, that can make it so much easier, just like my friend Matt that I've been mentoring, it's just he's light years ahead of other people who don't have that. So, for sure, get a mentor, and if it had been me, if I had told my younger self what to do, even in the first 5 businesses that failed, find a mentor, find a mentor, find somebody else that has done what you wanna do and ask them to help you, and I think that we as older people in business are all willing to help. I don't know that there are too many that, especially at my age, I'm 60 years old. I don't know that there are too many that don't want to because we've gone from the stage of creation to helping pass on what we know to a younger generation. And that's part of the meaning of life, right? That's the things that we do, the contribution that we make. And it's so important.
Yes, yes, 100%. And I think that this applies not only for accounting. I think that if you're in another industry, again, if you're in tech, if you're in retail, if you're doing massages, going to different places, again, having a mentor, I think it's having that experience of someone who already been there and had experience of building or starting 5 businesses where she or he failed and learn from that. I think it's super important. So everyone watching this in the future, this is also something that I would definitely recommend. Nancy, I'm sure there's someone maybe watching this or listening this while they're driving their car in Portland and Oregon, or maybe someone in Santa Monica in California listening to this podcast while they're running in the beach. And they found you super interesting. And now they want to reach out. Or maybe there's a CPA who just got his license and he wants to know more about yeah, working directly with you, or maybe there's a client that feels that you can help him out. What's the best way for them just to reach out to you?
I guess we can put my phone number in the show notes, but my email too is nancy@fixitaccounting.com. And you certainly can look up our website. Pretty easy to remember, fixitaccounting.com.
Perfect. I'll just make sure when we upload this episode to all our platforms just to tag you and leave you on the on the comments. Nancy, it was super nice having you. If I happen just to be in Orlando in the next few months, I might send you a message just to make sure if your husband is there. I really want to try that pizza. But thank you so much for joining and being part of Human Cine County.
Thanks for having me, Alex. So much fun to talk to you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.